This video walks through the steps for the code in this chapter. It'll look just like the code in the previous chapter. I'll just highlight a few differences. So this is the data set. This is a different CSV file than the last one. If we look at the data set over here, I've already run the data for the same reasons I did in the last one. This leftmost column is the thing we're trying to predict. That's the year ahead ROA, change in ROA. And then these are all the financial statement variables next to it. So for example, this could be row 1 could be Walmart, and all of this stuff over here to the right would be information from the that year's financial statements for Walmart. And then this would be the following year's change in ROA. And then it's a bunch of companies in a bunch of years. So same thing as before, set up the training and the testing samples. I just moved up here selecting which variables we wanted up to the top. We check that it looks the same, set up the threads, and read in the training data, and then run this piece. Notice I changed the Y variable. This lasted a little over an hour for me this time. We get the leaderboards. That looks pretty similar to the last one. We can look at this best model here. Notice there's a lot of stuff that came out. Maybe I should just print it anyway. And we can look and see some of the output. It says that this was an ensemble model again. So again, that was the best one. And R squared here is 13%. Which is reasonably good for changes in ROA. That's sort of hard to predict, so that's a decent thing. Again, for ensemble model, we can't use variable importance. It could work for a different one. We read in the testing data. We can move over the predictions. We create this explanation. We can then look at the testing data model performance, and it ends up being pretty similar. The R squared is almost 14%. And we run these things, and we see the variable importance. Prior EBITDA is the most important. Then this is market value at the fiscal year end and assets. So these are the pieces that make up ROA. So that makes sense that those would be the most important, and then other things are less important. Of course, notice we don't have changes in ROA here. We might add that. So we could think about improving the model, but that tells us what's important. And then trying to see what sort of effects they have. So yeah, a little hard to find anything here. EBITDA, the larger it is, the smaller the change in ROA is, meaning if you have very high EBITDA, less likely to increase in the future. Some of this is so spread out because there are extremes. So, we could deal with that at another time, but that's the only one that seems to really be something we can understand here. There are a few others that maybe we could make that inference. So here with market value, so higher market value, slightly higher, but it's not very big. And part of this is the reason is we have a not a really high R squared, so we might want to go in and try some other things. All right, and then when you're done, shut it down so it's not running on your machine, and you got to tell it yes. There you go. Well, I didn't quite do it, but yeah.